Railroute is a real-time train dispatching strategy game in which players design and optimize railway networks. If you like controlling, building, and refining logistics along with managing transport systems, then this is one for you. Whether you're more of a chill, relaxed, and creative player, or if you're wanting to min-max to the pinnacle of efficiency. Today, we were sponsored by BitRich to share this game, and now's a good time to check it out as it's on a 50% discount on Steam, so click the link below to see it on Steam. It features progression-based gameplay, automation mechanics, and a new co-op multiplayer mode has been added. This has over 90% positive reviews on Steam, so people have been loving this. It might feel intimidating at the start, particularly with all the menus, icons, and buttons, and more being thrown at you as soon as you get into the game. So here are 5 tips that I would have appreciated when I was starting up, and I'll show you some gameplay to see how this game is in action. So here we are on a map. We're in southeast London here, and the first tip that I would like to clarify about what this game is that this is a game about interface and making the user interface better. And that's not just, this is a game that has a terrible interface and you have to fix it, but it's literally the game. So, for example, a lot of the interface you might not immediately realize is customizable. So this being about the interface is twofold. So first of all, here you go. You can customize some parts of the interface, like this pop-up here. You can pop this out, and maybe you could attach it to the side and have that there, and then see the stone crossing. We could click that, pop this out, stick it to the side, and look at that. We now have 2 permanent fixtures for these 2 stations that we would be working with. And you can minimize those so it just looks a little bit better. And this is customizing the interface to make it work better for you. But then, if you actually look at the upgrades in the game, a lot of these are to do with making the interface better. So for example, auto-reversing trains. When a train, very nicely there's these videos over here showing you, when a train reaches a certain station, you can auto-reverse the train, which if you're looking here, you can see that there are certain settings and controls that you won't be able to access unless you get those upgrades. You have to upgrade to unlock UI elements. So that is something that is a concept that you might not be quite familiar with, but it really is kind of the whole point of this game. Signaling safety. Without this, you can quite literally crash trains into each other, and that's a lost state. You're going to have to reload or restart if you crash trains. So getting this unlock actually prevents you from doing that, but I have done that. So this is a game about interface, and as you can see, when you get bigger and bigger, you're going to need a lot of these interface upgrades and your own knowledge to control this interface to make this the most pleasant and efficient experience as possible. For a specific example of how you can use the interface to your advantage is that learning the interface is quite handy. When you're accepting these contracts, note you can change these timings and even change these platforms to determine where these trains are going to go. And you can see all of these icons. Once you play around with this a little bit, you can see how things can be a bit more sensible as you move these things around. So you can change this and you can see if there's a conflict, it shows you that. And you controlling the interface in one way and then upgrading the interface in another way means this game is all about interface. Okay, so the second point is that some things just take time and you shouldn't rush it. Down here, let's pause the game. We've got this train. And it does take time for things to spawn and things to move. So you can see this train here is supposed to be going to Dartford. We can let that train go, and we can go up to 3x speed and see how long it takes to actually have things happen. Now, nicely, there is a 25x speed, but at the start, don't rush it. Just let it go, let it run. Like at 1 speed, you can see how slowly this train moves. This is, of course, the slowest a train would move. There are upgrades and faster tracks that we could potentially get, but that's something for later on. Sometimes things just take time, and when you're starting, you don't want to rush it too much. Just let the train go, and you can see it going along, doing its thing, because once you're dealing with multiple trains, it can get very complicated. Also, as you're going through the tutorial, it might not immediately be clear. Like if you're playing the in-game tutorial, there's a story of how it's all going as well. Sometimes the narrator who is guiding you through the tutorial just sort of stops talking for a little bit, and it can feel like, wait, have I finished the tutorial? Like nothing's happening, and it's actually just waiting for you to accumulate some score and money. So you just keep playing and let it run, let it go through things, and once some time has passed, quite often things start to be a bit clearer. But speaking of time and taking time, here's tip number 3. Use the speed hotkeys liberally. Spacebar pauses, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 25. You can just go between 25 and pausing if you like. Oh, we do have to turn this train around. Right-clicking turns the train around, and we want to send it back the other way. And we can go to 25x speed just to rush it back. But also, are we sending it to the right spot? We're not sending it to the right spot. We're supposed to send it up there. My bad. 25x speed. Pause. 25x speed. Pause. You can completely control how fast or slow things are moving, and you should use the hotkeys. Spacebar, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this does give you the more fine control of how you want to be playing this game. You could try challenge mode, only running at 25x speed, no pausing, and that would be kind of a difficult experience to play. You can see time goes 25 times faster, 25 seconds in a second, basically. But using the hotkeys liberally, you can see I've paused the game already, and we want to accept this contract. Yes, thank you. Now that we know how things are going, we're waiting for a train to spawn, we can just go ahead and run the speed along, and you can see that there's going to be a train spawning. And then we can go ahead and accept this train and just pop it right there. And this one is going to Dartford 4, and then back to Stone Crossing 2. So remember, swap that, do that, speed it along. Going between pausing and 25x speed can be a nice way to play things. You can see here, it goes along, and we want to turn it around, swap that, send it back that way, and second train done. Playing with the speed controls with the hotkeys makes this a much more pleasant experience. Also remember, if you're using the spacebar to pause the game, you can just press spacebar again, and it goes back to the speed you were at. I'm only pressing the spacebar here. I can go to 10x, and spacebar, 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 and that works as well. So you can just spacebar to, let's not do that. You can just use spacebar to control your speed if you have it at 25x, and you can just spacebar whenever you want to pause the game, and then you can spacebar again to resume to your desired speed. As you can see, I've upgraded my track a little bit here. I've added another signal here, which allows me to send the train down this track while this one continues up there, because we've been accepting more and more contracts. You can see more trains are on the way. And now that this is like that, we can swap that, let that through, and now we've got these 2 trains running at the same time without any delays. But this is getting a little bit annoying, having to reverse these trains all the time here. So we're going to speed this up here. See, this train, all the trains coming here have to be reversed. So when it comes to this sort of thing, see, we have to manually do this, and then send this back this way. It's like it's a whole thing. We have to click, 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 click. But there's certain things we can do to automate that. And the 4th tip here is to unlock upgrades in the order of what would solve your most frequent problems. So we know we always have to reverse a train here, and that's kind of limiting my micro ability, right? All these things, imagine you have to reverse trains manually across all of these stations. It's a huge thing. So automation and sensors and all of that can be unlocked. And you can see as we've been delivering these trains on time, we're earning points. These green points here allow us to upgrade here. Now, the red stuff is even more advanced stuff, but let's do the green stuff. And you can see there are a number of things that can help things along. Auto-accept trains, auto-reverse trains. So we are manually accepting trains, but I think the problem I'm having more is auto-reversing trains. So I'm going to unlock this one and unlock that upgrade. There we go. Ah, yes. Auto-reverse train. And that means when we go to this station here and configure it, you can now see there's auto-reverse trains. It's automatically on. It's going to be good there. So that's auto-reversing trains. Now the auto-reverse train will be happening. And then I could get the auto-accept train, and then things could be even faster. And, well, not faster, but it requires less effort from me. And see how our pinned UI elements here are nicely indicating everything. So let's see how this works. We're going to accept this train here. We're going to swap that. We want this to go through all the way to the end. And this train should now auto-reverse. We just have to still manually switch this once it gets past this point. But let's see. I'm going to do that. And it should auto-reverse and we can send it on through. I didn't have to reverse the train because they always have to reverse at this station. So we want to always auto-reverse. Isn't that nice? That's one whole less click per train, which is a big deal. And if we get one more train in here, which we can see there's one showing up there as we speed through time, there's going to be one more train here and it'll get us to 3 points. So we've got to accept this. Remember, we swap that, send it on through. Using my spacebar just to control the speeds here. This will then reach here, auto-reverse, and we want to make sure it goes to the right station. There we go. You can see it waiting for it there, and there's a timer countdown. We got to get it. Oh, I forgot to send it. So when it comes to automation, of course, things can get more and more automated here. Oh, is there a new contract? Oh, okay, sure. Let's add another contract here to get even more trains coming in. This is a little bit... Our schedule's getting a little bit crowded, but sure, let's accept that. And you come on in, and that's going to get us our 3rd point, which means we can now get the next thing that is like the priority. You want to upgrade what is your most frequent problem. So right now, the most frequent problem is auto-accepting trains. So let's go ahead and unlock that so we can auto-accept trains, and we should be able to see this station here is auto-reverse train, auto-accept train. So this station doesn't need to auto-reverse train, but we're going to leave it on for now because it's not a problem, but it's now auto-accepting trains. So now when we wait for the next train to come along, it just shows up. I don't have to accept the train into the station. And I can just, oh, no, let's make sure we send it to the right place. And now we can just have it go on through. And as you get these upgrades, more and more of this stuff can be automated and everything. So here you can see our extra signal here is going to help out because this train has to go there. We can now send both of these at the same time without them crashing into each other or anything. Look at that. Swap that, do that, bam. So this is how it's all working nicely. And you can see as things get more and more complicated, you click, 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 and it really starts to feel like you are mastering this as you go along. And it feels like you don't quite know what you're doing at the start, but then suddenly, oh, well, things are actually, you're just doing it naturally. Look at that. I didn't even think about that. This signal here means I can send it through first without doing anything complicated like that. Look at that. Just placing a nice signal in a nice place like that allows you to do certain things very easily like this. Yes, look at that. And it's just become a natural route here. And we're going along and just gaining points and accepting more contracts. This is... Can I fill up my schedule even more? Let's do that. And things are just coming on so nicely. And yeah, it does always feel like it's so intimidating at the start. All of these buttons, all of these UI elements. But you can go at your own pace and just learn. Nope, that's wrong. I want to send this one through. And handle things when you feel you're ready for them. Because as the more you play this, the faster you get and the smoother things start to run. And you can see like that. See, I'm already preemptively accepting trains and everything. And of course, you don't have to accept all of these contracts. You can say no if things are feeling a bit too full. But yeah, you want to go at your own pace, which brings me to my 5th tip. When you get into the game, you're gonna see a lot of stuff. What is this? Rush hour? Look at all these maps. Look at this. Endless? Look at all these maps. There's so much stuff here. Look, endless? Oh, it's too much. Timetable? What even is that? These are 3 different game modes. This is, it gets harder and harder. Endless is play forever, and you can start to expand to all sorts of stations and just build your train empire. Timetable are more specific challenges which you have to complete within a time limit. But of course, you're going to be starting in the tutorial, where there's this tutorial here, but then look at all this stuff down here. There's all of these separate tutorials. These are clickable as well. Automatic routing, relay sensors, arrival sensors, routing sensors, departures, and all of this automated stuff. There's so much stuff. This story up here is where you want to go through. But you might be tempted to be like, oh, I don't want to play the game until I learn all the tutorials, but that's daunting, right? That's too much. It's too overwhelming. So once you get into this game for the first time, take the tutorials when you feel ready. You can play the basic tutorial, or you could just go into an endless mode and mess around for a little bit. Like I've been playing that, I was playing our current game, it's right here, the Southeast London. You can save your game, and you can always go back to the tutorial and be like, wait, I want to set up a perpetual circuit in my current game. So I will save my game, go over to the tutorial, play the perpetual circuit, and then come back and do the thing that I wanted to do, which I wasn't quite sure how to do. So you don't have to feel like you need to go through all of these tutorials all at once to get into Railroute. You can just jump into the game and take the tutorials when you feel like you want to do it, because you don't need to play the loco coupling before you start your first game. It's advanced stuff, some of this. So you can just jump into a game. Maybe like you can see the difficulty levels on these number of orange trains here. You can pick a 2 or 3 difficulty, or even like a 0 difficulty map there, and it's okay if things go a little bit awry. If you crash a train or 2, that's fine. When you want to learn something, hop on over to the tutorial and learn what you want to learn, and then go back to doing what you were doing. You can take this at your own pace. Of course, if you are the type to really enjoy doing all the tutorials first, that is always an option, but don't feel like you have to do it. All right, so that is 5 tips that I just sort of wish I had. I would have wanted to know when I stepped into Railroute for the first time. But you've seen how this game does kind of play out, and there's a lot of content. So if you like trains, train management, automation, rail empires, all of that stuff, there is a lot to do in Railroute. So as right now, there is a discount, so click the link below to check it out on Steam. Thank you so much for watching and for checking out the game, and thank you so much to BitRich for sponsoring us today. I hope you enjoyed this little look, and well, I'll see you on the rails, I guess.